took a 0, me and Blue. Marianne came up. We stayed at the Motel 8. What a dive that was. We had to switch rooms 2 times. The third room, finally, it was at least usable. The doors were stuck. The doors didn't fit the jambs. Couldn't control the water. They had a plate glass window they replaced, leaned against the wall in one of them. They had mold all around the window in one of them. The vanity was broken in one of them. Man, what a lousy place that was on Route 11 in Carlisle. But anyway, we're on a trail again. And you can see behind me we're going through farmland. It's going to be wet and overcast all day, probably drizzly at some point. And we're getting a lot of mud going through these fields and everything. But we're on our way, and supposedly we should be in Dunn Canyon late today or tomorrow, early in the morning. And from what we understand, right after Dunn Canyon, we cross the Susquehanna, go up in the mountain, and that's when the rocks in Pennsylvania start. And everybody says, yeah, they're going to be a real challenge. Not because they're big climbs, but because every step you take, you have to place so you don't hurt yourself on the rocks. In some places, you got to even climb up rocks in that. So that's the way it's going to be for the rest of Pennsylvania from Dunn Canyon on. That's where the Susquehanna is. But it will be relatively flat, not many climbs at all. So at least that'll help. What I didn't say before was that I got my new phone. My old phone died. I was taking videos and pictures on my camera, which I can't really use for my YouTube until I download it on a computer and then upload it. So I'm not sure when my next video is gonna come in, but probably not for another week or so from this point. Anyway, but my new phone seems to be working right, but it was a pain because I lost about a week of video going from Shenandoah into Harper's Ferry. So that stinks. Anyway, nothing I can do about it now. Nice Pennsylvania forest here. Lots of ferns. Muddy path, but it's quite green around here. Here's a beautiful field that we're walking through. Grassy field leading up to that mountain ridge line, which we have to climb up, and then we'll walk along the ridge line to Dunn Canyon. But this is just a really nice grass field we're going through, me and Blue. And it's hot in this sun. Wow, hot and humid. And the gnats are out in force. We're at the overlook for Dunn Canyon, and it's a really beautiful overlook. You can see right behind me, there's the Susquehanna River, and there's Dunn Canyon down here. We're descending down into it, and it's nice and windy, it cools off. Looks like it cleared up quite a bit. It's not raining all day, but it's just a beautiful sight from up here, so I'll show you. The, to the west out here, and the flat areas, farmland. And there's Dunn Canyon down there, and that's the Susquehanna River. Really beautiful sight, and we're on this ledge right here. So I can go up. See right there. And here's Blue still around with his Instagram. This climb down into Dunn Canyon is quite steep. A lot of stones they put as steps, but there's a lot of spots where it's really steep and quite rocky. But very picturesque and interesting. Just got to be careful. You don't want to trip and fall on a rock, and take a nice dive down there. We are at the Doyle in Duncannon. This is one of the famous old bar hotels. I don't know when this was built. It was probably built in the early 1900s or even late 1800s, but it's kind of like a classic place that a lot of people say, oh, you got to stay at the Doyle. It's $35 for a private room with 2 people, 2 beds. So you can't beat that. That's better than the average hostel, you know. So let me show you around. This is our room. We got 2 double beds. That's where I'm gonna sleep. We got the corner room with big windows. We got a ceiling fan. We got everything in here. A little table. Okay. This is our room. And then you go into the hallway. That's the is this the place? I don't know. They said that they lock the doors in the bar, which is the normal way you get in at 8 o'clock. So you have to go out the fire escape. I don't think that it's the one. I think it's the other one. But then you can go in here. And this is the bathroom. Not exactly a cool bathroom, but you know, it's all right. It's a bathroom. What do you want? And they even got a sink. A little rusty, but it's a sink. Then you go down here. That's some creative wiring. You go down here. I don't know what that is. It says employees only, but I guess that's the, you do get towels. They give you towels for your shower. I guess that's room 19. That's the shower room. They got showers in here. And that's more rooms. We're on the 3rd floor. I think this goes up 4 floors. Yeah, it does go up 4 floors. And you know, we were down on the 1st floor down there. That's where the bar is and where they serve food. The food's really good. But this is a classic place. It's kind of falling apart a little bit. Too bad they couldn't restore some of it. But I guess they just don't have enough money in it to do that. 2 more rooms. Room number 12. So anyway, this is the Doyle. And it's good enough for me. This is a full bed. You get a blanket, pillows, towels. What more do you want? It's better than a bunk in a hostel where you don't even get blankets half the time. You gotta use your own blankets and stuff. So I'm good with this. There's Blue waiting for me. We're gonna go get ice cream.
Yeah, you bet.
And yeah, we're going down to where the bar and grill is. There's the bar and grill. Good food. Pool table, hi. And this is the way out during working hours. How you doing? And here we are on, what's this, the main street? Yeah, the breakfast place for tomorrow. So this is Duncannon, and we are going to walk to the ice cream store. We left Duncannon. I'm talking to my phone. We left Duncannon, and we're walking across the Susquehanna, which is really wide right here, but it gets wider even down by Harrisburg. But we got about 3 or 4 football fields across this bridge. Actually, this is Route 22, which goes near my house in New Jersey, the old road. So, not very scenic on the highway here, but I'll show you the river. Now that's the highway we're crossing, and this is the river. Pretty big. And the whole river is moving pretty fast, so a lot of water coming through here. I guess with all the rain lately, it's moving pretty fast too. Anyway, we gotta climb that mountain after we walk around the end there. Got about another mile before we start climbing the mountain. and then we walk along that ridge. Keep going along the ridge. We're going to do a lot of ridge walking. And this is where the rocks start. So every step is going to be placing your foot between a rock. It's going to be hard. You're going to be walking with your head down all day long, trying to get around the rocks. That's the way it's going to be all the way through Pennsylvania. Just found the jackpot. I found a wild black sweet cherry tree right on the trail. So I'm eating the cherries right now. The trail, I was walking on it, and look at those cherries all over this tree. This is the most cherries I've seen on a tree yet. They're not perfectly ripe yet, but there are some dark ones that still taste good. They're kind of dark red. But, you know, they're not quite completely sweet, but I did get some black ones that were very sweet. Boy, are they good. One of those moments that slow me down. I can't help but eat berries and cherries and so forth. A little small, but they're good. Wow, 3 rattlesnakes sunning themselves. 3 rattlesnakes sunning themselves. Where are we? Right there. There we go. See them rattling? Hear them rattling? Oh, that one's not rattling at all. But the, you can't see. Yeah, you can see the one coiled. The one coiled is right there, and there's the one rattling right there, and the third one just walked off over there. Cool, huh? 3 of them. They're walking off now. So, since I almost lost my balance and fell towards them, I will leave them alone now. They were good sized ones. Pretty big, fat. They don't get really long, but I bet you they were both a little over 3 feet long. And they're probably a good 2 inches in diameter in their fat area. But they're just sunning themselves right there. You get on these rocks here, and since it was rainy all morning, or overcast, they're out on these rocks, these timber rattlesnakes, and they're just sunning themselves, warming up so that they can go and bite some food. And so that's pretty cool, huh? Just found this shed rattlesnake skin just on the other side of the rocks here from where they were. So they probably live in these rocks, and this one just shedded his skin. So that means we're gonna have to watch when we walk on these rocks, especially the ones in the sun, so we don't step on any of these rattlesnakes. Oh, he sees me all the way up here and he doesn't like me. It's Thursday, thunderstorms last night, and it's nice and foggy today, but at least it's warm. So we packed up kind of wet a little bit, at least the outer stuff. We stayed dry in the tents, but still it's just sticky and wet and everything, canopy's wet. But walking through the trail, this is what you don't want to run into. What you're seeing here as I move it, that grid, is a spider web. It's a big spider web. You get some strands once in a while, but this is what you don't want to run into. There you go, now you can see it. You can see some people haven't even gotten out of their tents yet. So we've done 5 miles already, and they're probably still in there saying, forget it, I'm not getting up. We passed several people in their tents still. Just didn't want to get out and walk today. But you know what? I feel better walking than just laying in a tent in the rain all day. So we are going to get moving in a few minutes after we have a snack and that. It's not raining. It's just the fog is dripping off the trees, but this is what we have to walk in. Just mud and mud and more mud. So I try to walk on the rocks instead of going right straight through the mud. But as you see, most people go straight through the mud. And it just keeps going. And this is on the top of the mountain, so it's not in the low areas. It's just muddy. Oh, this is nice. Alright, now we've reached a section. This is the Pennsylvania they talk about being full of rocks. So this is the trail. Just rock, rock, rock. Slows you down. You gotta place every foot carefully. Especially in the rain like this, everything's so slippery. So this is probably gonna be about the rest of the way. Not to be gross, but this is by far the worst privy I have used. It got done raining, but the sun's out like 10 minutes ago. Not only are the steps broken on this thing, but man, you go up in this thing and the roof leaks. Everything's wet. Flies, if you can see the flies all over the place. Not to look down in there, but this thing stinks. It's almost full, and it's not a pleasant area to go to the bathroom. Fortunately, I had my Lysol, and I just sprayed the heck out of that seat before I went. It was gross. Down in Georgia and North Carolina, there's a lot of rhododendrons with the flowers that were not quite coming out yet. So we missed all that, but now I'm seeing a lot of rhododendrons here in Pennsylvania, and since it's cooler up here, they're starting to come out now, so maybe I won't miss the big ones. And they're just starting to come out now. You can see the pinkish white flowers, which are very pretty. Like that one right there. That pink white flower. So they're not out all the way yet, but tunnels like this will have flowers all over. That rainstorm I walked through, there's two real big heavy rainstorms. And I'm crossing this river, and look at the river, it's really moving, it's all flooded. I'm not sure the name of this river. Might be on one of those signs over there, but I'm not going back to look. So it's really high and flooded. So I got poured on. So I'm soaking wet right now, but hopefully I'll dry out by the time we're ready to camp. I see blue skies coming, so that's a good sign. Anyway, off I go. Well, the day turned out good. It's, what? Oh, well, the sun's out right now. It's, what time is it? It's after 7. So the sun's getting low in the sky. 80% chance of thunderstorms tonight, but at least we got a chance to dry out our tent and stuff. You know, I'm hanging some stuff up, dry out as much as we can, so. And then tomorrow's supposed to be nicer. So hopefully we won't get those thunderstorms tonight, but you never can tell. And I got my pajamas on, I'm ready for bed. I'm tired, so it's off to bed I go. Ho ho. It's Friday, and we're approaching, I think it's Pine Grove. We're gonna pass our shelter 501, which is supposed to be a really nice cabin-like shelter with a caretaker. But we're walking the ridge. It's been pretty easy so far. A few patches of rocks that were difficult. And we have an overlook here, and you can see out over Pennsylvania. And in the distance there is Route 78. So we're paralleling 78 east, which leads right to where I live. And at some point when we pass or get near Allentown, we're gonna veer north so we get up to the Delaware Water Gap. So anyway, here's a real nice view of the Pennsylvania farm country. So we're on the mountain ridge that parallels Route 78. Nice country. Saturday, and the 22nd, and we reached 1,200 miles. So there it is, 1,200 miles. That means it's a countdown. We're counting down. We're even less than 1,000 to go. So we're counting down. That sounds really good because after doing 1,200 miles, now we're getting less and less each day till we get to 0 miles left. Great. This next section of video is going to be an analysis of why so many people hate Pennsylvania and hiking through Pennsylvania as part of the AT Trail. We'll be going over various conditions within the AT Trail through Pennsylvania that will explain why hiking through Pennsylvania is such a pain in the butt, which I am finding out right now. So starting from now, we will show you different conditions that cause this reaction by through hikers. Now this type of trail here with moderate rocks sticking up is called the ankle buster type of rocks, where if you're not careful and if you're not constantly with your head down looking at the rocks and where you're going to step, you're going to twist, sprain, or break your ankle very easily. And this is a good portion. We'll go over percentages later of the trail. Of course, you have the ankle busters with mud, which increases the risk of slipping, sliding off the rocks. Or you can just walk through the mud and cover your shoes in mud, in which case you have muddy feet. And if your shoes aren't waterproof, they will definitely have muddy feet. If they're waterproof, you'll just have yucky feet that will probably get wet anyway. And of course, there are the ankle breakers with water. So you have a choice: water, mud, or dry. Right now it's water with ankle busters. Ouch. And then there is the outright marsh. Forget the ankle biters. This is going to be a problem crossing this and staying dry. This part of the trail is best hiked during the drier months. And here, as we approach, this is the shin buster. Rocks are a little bit larger, so as you're going over these rocks, you can do more than just wreck your ankle. You can break your shin or something else. But for us long-legged people, these are a little easier because we can glide over the top of most of them, and we don't have to step down in between each rock all the time. But they are just a little bit more formidable than the ankle busters. Now we're back to just the regular ankle busters. This next type is significantly larger and requires much diligence in the way you approach it. This is called the boulder hopping rocks. As you see, the rocks are quite large, many the size of, well, a couple of small, the size of small cars. Most are the size of, I don't know, well, you can see how big they are. Now these rocks require, for the most part, that you walk across the tops. So for those of us with long legs, we will gracefully skip across the top of the rocks to the other side. Unfortunately, those of you with short legs will have to just step around each rock the best you can and try to make it across, going much slower. Now, the trick is to figure out where the trail goes. At this point, I have no idea where it goes. It looks like there's an opening in the trees over there, but I don't see a blaze. But that's the most logical place for me to try. So I will just skip across these gracefully and make my way over to that rock, the area. Notice very little bouncing up and down as I go from rock to rock, carefully choosing which rocks I step on low and gliding across these rocks. Unfortunately, my hiking buddy for now, Blue, will probably have to get down and crawl in between the rocks at some point during his traverse of these boulder hopping sections. And that's how it's done. Unfortunately, this is not the trail. I don't know where the heck the trail is right now. So, excuse me while I search for the trail. There is the normal trail. Really no rocks, maybe a little gravel, relatively flat, where you can just cruise. No problem at all. A couple routes here and there, but this would be a normal trail most places that we've hiked. You know, we can deal with a few rocks here and there, but this is not common in Pennsylvania. Well, it's Sunday, and we came out of the woods to Route 61 and walked down 61 highway, because what we didn't know was Cabela's, which has the biggest store in the nation here of theirs, offers shuttle service if you call them. We didn't know that, so we walked down the highway to get here. But we had a nice breakfast at Cracker Barrel, and then I just ate a hamburger. And Cabela's, if you're a sportsman in the U.S., this is the store for you. They have a really good display out here. This is the bronze statue that's outside. I think it's just really cool looking. About the old frontiers. And then, of course, there's Cabela's. And then from the other side, it's really sharp looking. So Walmart was over there, and right behind the Walmart, that's where we have to climb up back at the trailhead, and then we go up there. So that's where we're going to be going. This is supposed to be, from this point on, the worst rocks in Pennsylvania. So it's probably going to be a little slower. We did 20 miles yesterday, and we were pretty tired afterwards because we're dodging all the rocks and mud, so it's going to get worse. So they even set up a nice little place for Appalachian trail guys. You can leave your stuff here. You can see Blue and I's backpacker over there. And you just go inside and ask them, and they'll arrange a shuttle, which they have here. There's another hiker there waiting. So, of course, if you've been here, these are the store. Really big store.